Good afternoon. Welcome to your How We Build meeting. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to film this as if you were, actually here. And basically I'm just going to kind of go through the home, point out all the little bits and pieces with the mechanicals just so you can get an idea as to what's behind your walls. And as I'm going along, obviously you will not be able to, ask me questions. So following the video, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. And if need be, we can always schedule a phone call for anything extensive. But other than that, I'm just going to jump into it and kind of work my way through the home, left to right systematically. So let us begin. So first things first, I like to start in the garage. And then with the garage door specifically, so right here you have this blue wire. That's basically where the laser is going to be that sits on the corner here. It's like on a little bracket that'll sit on the garage rail, but there's a blue wire on this side. There's a blue wire on that side. And basically that's so that when the garage door is actually set up, they shoot across the way. So if I were to walk across and step across this line, the garage door would stop and come back to position. So that's the point of that. And again, a lot of this stuff I'll go back over when we do your new home celebration, but this is just a kind of chance to see it, what it looks like behind the walls. So those wires are both run up and then they run through the ceiling here and they both end up over here. So this is where your garage door box will be mounted. So that's where the low voltage comes through and attaches to that. That's the actual outlet that the garage door unit is plugged into. And then that is the light that lights up the actual garage. So that's just run off a switch. But while I have it pointed up in the ceiling here, this framed out section right here, this will be your attic access. So it'll be basically a piece of drywall that sits in it'll be trimmed out around the edges here. And the drywall will sit in there. So you can push that off and activate or have entranceway to the attic itself. So up in here, you're gonna have an outlet and you'll have a switch. And that switch controls the light up in here, which is off that blue box. So if need be, that's typically, the only reason you would ever need that is if somebody had to do work up there and work on some of the mechanicals or, for whatever reason you wanted to get inside the attic, that's how you do so. If you notice while looking up the trusses that these are all 2x4s, obviously the way these are engineered, this is designed for the roof load. It's not necessarily designed to hold a significant amount of weight. Obviously, if you want to just store some light Christmas decorations up there that, spanned between the two, between the two trusses, make sure that's not obviously sitting on the drywall, but that's fine. Any light stuff like that. But otherwise, I really don't recommend hanging anything heavy or storing anything too heavy up inside the attic itself. So just a little heads up with that. Moving on. So I will say speaking of storage units, so I know some people have like wall mounted racks, stuff like that. I would recommend to use this side of the garage versus this side. This side contains all your mechanicals. So there's a lot more behind this part of the wall. This side of the wall, there's basically nothing. The only thing I have over here is you have a singular outlet on there. So it's a lot safer to drill into these studs where you're less likely to hit anything. So next bit here, so more of a structural component of the home. So we have a few different systems that we use to basically give the homes that hurricane rating strength, the wind resistance. So first bit here, so along the wall, you'll notice they have these big anchor bolts here. So again, you'll see down the line, they have them drilled into the footer. So they basically drill a hole into here and then stick this down into the footer and then they secure that. So that secures the bottom plate into the footer. And then over here, we have our quick tie system. So they basically drill down, stick this bottom bit in here, they epoxy this, and then this runs all the way up into the top plate where they have it on top of it, which I can't point out to you, but they have a big, washer that sits on top of there that they tighten down, and that secures from inside the footer to the top plate. And then over here, I'm gonna try and find an example. You have these hurricane ties that basically tie in the trusses themselves into the top plate. So they have that nailed into there. So basically what we're creating is a system where it allows you to tie the whole home together to give it that hurricane rating. So you basically have from the footers to the walls to the trusses, everything is all tied in together. sitting in your garage, which they'll probably be mounting soon. I'll go over it a little bit later, but these are the meter-based holders. So your electric meter will sit on this unit and it'll go on the outside of the home. But so when I do that part of the tour, I'll just kind of point out where those things will sit, but it's just the ones for your neighbors across the way. So moving on over here to this wall, you get an outlet right here. This orange tube right here, this is what we call a Smurf tube. They're typically blue, but you have this conduit here, and that's where either Spectrum or Hargray, whoever you decide to use, that's where they're going to run their low voltage. So the outside of the home, they'll run it down, it'll pop up through here, and then they'll put it into this tube, and then they'll run it all the way up and then into your low voltage closet, which I'll point out when I go through the home. We have your electric panel right here. We usually leave you a couple blank spaces in case you want to add anything on after the fact. And then they'll be on, when you open up the door, it'll have everything labeled inside the panel. And then moving on over here, this is your main water cutoff. So all you got to do is flip that over. When we drywall this, it'll be boxed in, so you'll still have access to it. It'll be visible. Definitely recommend popping that off when you leave. And then also inside of the home, make sure to empty out your sinks or keep those running to get any of the water that's still remaining in the system out, because there still is a good bit of water that's held inside the pipe. So even if you shut that system off, you still have water that's sitting in the home. This right here is just for code purposes. This piece of rebar is what they ground the actual electric panel to. That's what that little system is right here with the nut. So that piece of rebar runs down into the footer and then is tied in. So it basically allows it a grounding path. But that's, again, just a code thing and really not something you have to worry too much about at all. Anyways, the last little bit in the garage here, you have this green line right here, and that actually runs throughout the whole home, but they have that run through here. And what that's for, that's part of this TAEX system. So it's basically our anti-bug system, pesticide system. So this company, Home Team, basically preemptively runs this, just hoping that you'll end up using it in the future, which most of our customers continue to use them. So what they can do, and I'll show you the little box that they access on the outside, but they basically tap in and they can spray pesticide through this line, and it basically stays inside of the wall here. So you don't have to have somebody come in and spray along your baseboards. It's all inside the wall. And the line has this little slits in it that basically are like they rotate through, so that when they spray it, it shoots through the line and then disperses inside the stud bay. And this company also does the termite traps as well. So definitely a good idea. I would highly recommend continuing to use that service. And that's just personal opinion. Nobody pays me to say that. So definitely recommend to keep that up though. So that's everything I have for the garage. Last little bit as I'm stepping in right before I get to the doorway. This blue wire, this is a continuation of that garage door system. So there's a little box that sits right there, and you can just press on that button, and that can manually open and close the door. But you'll also get like actual remotes at closing for your car. So, and then with the system, with the garage door, you'll also be able to open it and close it from your phone too. So we give you like 3 different ways to open the garage door. So first thing, stepping in the home now, you have switches here. So that controls, one will control the light out there, and the other will control the light inside here, which is off this box here. But right on my left-hand side, this is where your AC unit will actually sit. So that'll just sit on the floor, and then they'll hook it up there. But this is all pre-run so that when they do run it, it's all good to go. And that's that copper line coming down through the ceiling as well. So right to the right of that, you have your washer dryer area. So we do washer on the left-hand side, dryer on the right-hand side. So these right here, this will be your hot and cold supply. And then this middle piece, this is where that drain hose will stick in. So they'll just kind of pop that in there. And then this, for your dryer vent, this vents up and out through the ceiling. And then we supply outlets for both of those. And then we have a switch for this room as well. And then right behind me, this is that low voltage panel I was talking about. So your internet modem will sit in here. It's got like a little door, but that orange line that comes through, that's what's coming through the ceiling down into the actual unit panel here. And then these green and white wires, those are your Cat6 and RG6. So that's all your Ethernet and cable wires that'll run, didn't be dispersed throughout the home. So then stepping in to the main living area here, right to my left, you have your pantry closet, so that'll have the rows of shelving. And then in the kitchen here, this is your refrigerator supply line here, so that'll be a little circular piece after the drywall is put up that you'll have access to that. And then on here, they give you outlets all throughout the backsplash. And then all this blocking that you see, all this 2x6 in here, that's where the cabinets mount to. But in here, the only difference on this backsplash, you have this box here for your low voltage. So just required by code that everybody has to have an actual hard line, so that if you had a pacemaker or something like that, you can still get access to the hospital. So just by code, you got to have that in there. But again, not a big deal. And then over to the other side of the kitchen, one of your options, you had the gas drop for the range. So the range will sit right here in the middle. You got the outlet hookups for that as well. And then this tube right here, this is where the microwave will connect to, and it'll vent up through the ceiling. So you actually have a venting microwave, which is nice and not just recirculating. One of your other options, you had the under cabinet lighting. So that's what this is right here. So they basically rough it in right there so that when they, after they put in drywall, they can then tap into that. And then you get a couple more outlets in the backsplash here, and then you'll have switches that control all the lighting in here as well. Another one of your options you had picked was the recessed lights in the kitchen. So you get 6 of those, and then you get an air supply in here as well. So with the island here, so I have them, they had come through a little while ago and labeled all basically where the cabinets go and the size of them. But again, not really relevant for you all, but I just know that with that, the dishwasher's going on the left-hand side, sink comes in the middle, you'll have a cabinet on the right-hand side. And then this yellow wiring that they have ready to run here, that's for the outlets that'll come on the side of the island. So we actually have power there. So that is basically the rundown of the kitchen. So coming this way, you have your living room. And like I had mentioned earlier too, those, quick ties, they basically run these all throughout the home. So they have them basically spread out, and I have a diagram of where they're supposed to go and then the thickness of the actual quick tie themselves. So just, that's why you'll see those in here. But with the living room, you get outlets all along the walls here. So you have outlets no farther than 6 foot from any corner, and you'll have your switches over here. So these switches, it's kind of a learning game when you move into your home about what, switches control what, but you'll have some of these control. In here, you'll have a switch that controls your lighting outside, so it's just kind of getting used to. So on this wall over here, this is your entertainment wall. So you've got your low voltage right there. So that green and white wire, that's your RG6 and Cat6 wire. And then you'll have an outlet over there as well. So that basically is your little entertainment system as they have it framed out like that over here. And then above me, we have your box for your chandelier light to get hooked up to. And then they do have an air supply up in here as well, so it'll be on that wall. That's basically how they design these systems, so we don't really get much of a say in where those go. They basically, everybody gets one in these giant foyers. And then while I have the camera pointed up here, one of your other options was you had the recessed lighting in the living room. So you get those 5 can lights. And then that's where your ceiling fan box mount goes right there. So that's all ready to go for a ceiling fan. So once again, let me get a overview of this. Oh, and then you also get a supply in the living room as well. So I'll keep moving this way. Let me step outside right quick just because we're over here. But this is your lanai. And of course, yes, they stack the concrete up here. But after they do the grading and everything like that, they'll get it all cleaned up. And we already have your sidewalk poured because they were doing the other side. So they'll come in, they'll install landscaping along the base here, and then they'll put the sod over here. And then these big black corrugated pipes, that's for the drainage. So they'll put a cap on top of there. And then they have the grade so that they all meet, that's the low point in the yard. But they do a pretty good job with the grading so that you don't have too much standing water. And you can kind of see with your neighbors what your landscaping typically looks like over there. They do use the pine straw instead of like your standard mulch. So that's the outside there. And then you do have the hookup that'll be for a hose bib right there. So But back to the actual lanai itself. So you have your outlets over here, and then this was your option outlet right there. So you got the 2 outlets there. One of your other options was the lights and the lanai ceiling, and then you've got your ceiling fan hookup box right there as well. And then you also get a light right outside your front door. And then you also have, for one of your options, had picked the front door with the glass. So that is pretty much everything for the lanai. And then this blue wire right here, this is for your doorbell. So I'm gonna keep that open. Actually kind of helps with the light. So moving on into here, right off to your left directly, this is the bedroom 2. So this one you have outlets again all throughout the bedroom. Everything will be controlled with this box right here. You'll have 3 switches. So with every single bedroom, you have a half hot. So basically, it's typically the first switch. Half of the outlet is controlled by the switch, and I believe it'll be this outlet right here. So the 2 outlets, it'll be flipped over so you can tell which one it is. But it's either the top or the bottom of it. But that is basically, you plug a lamp into it, and then when you toggle the switch over here, it'll turn the lamp on and off. So just kind of a neat feature with that. The second light or switch on here usually controls the actual light. So again, you got the bedroom 2 option with the recessed can lights. So you have the 4 of those. You also have your smoke detector in here as well. That's what that blue box is. And then your last switch in here usually controls the ceiling fan. So that's mounted up into a stud, ready for ceiling fan. And then of course, all the bedrooms get their own supply and return air vents. And then right over here, you have the closet. So typically in the bedrooms, it'll be like an upper row of shelving, usually about like head height. So here is bedroom 2. Moving out of bedroom 2, right to my left, you get a little hallway linen closet type. And then stepping over here, you have your bath 2. So we have it with the shower pan, and you'll get tile wall on there. And then over here, this is where you'll control the actual shower itself. That's where the shower head will be. Right over here, this is where the toilet will be. And then next to that, that's where the vanity sits. So that's your plumbing supply and then drain right there. And then that white squiggly wiring that runs through there, that's basically the wiring for your vanity lighting. So they do that so that they can center it on top of the vanity after it's been installed. In the corner here, this will be a GFI outlet. And then everything, again, controlled by these 3 switches here. So first switch typically controls your vanity lighting. Second switch controls the lighting over the shower. And then third switch controls your exhaust vent. And then, of course, you get an air supply in here as well. And with that exhaust vent, they basically, to limit the amount of holes that they put in the roofs, they run this one up and through the soffit, and then they put a little plastic piece in it. So it kind of blends in and you really won't even notice it. So stepping out of the bathroom here, right to your, I guess, left of where that door is. This will be another closet. So again, another few rows of shelving. And then this will be the switch that controls the light above my head. And then outside all the bedrooms too, with this blue box, you get the smoke carbon combination. And all those systems are tied in together so that when one goes off, they all go off. And it's extremely loud, so it's very annoying. But again, that's a good thing for an alarm system. So stepping over here, we have the dining room. So once again, you get your ceiling fan mount box right there. You get an air supply, and we have the big air return in this space. And then, of course, you get outlets all along the walls here. And then right over here with this brown wire, this is where the thermostat system will sit. So it'll mount right there. And they've kind of put that in a middle spot so that, it's able to get the best read on temperature. And then again, like I was talking about with these switches, a lot of these switches, it'll control a lot of stuff. So it's just a little bit of getting used to when you're first moving in. So here, right over here is the master bedroom. Your carbon smoke combination will be up here in that blue box right there. So stepping through here, again, 3 switches on the wall. First switch controls the half hot, and that one in the master, they do it on both of these outlets. So they assume that you're going to put your bed on this side or right in between there. So they have the one outlet there and then the other outlet right there. Second switch will control your lighting. So again, in this bedroom, you just pick the master bed recess lighting. So you get those 4 cans right there. And then that last switch controls the ceiling fan mount box right there as well. And then you have your switch over here, which controls the light into your walk-in closets. So walk-in closets all get air supply, light right there. And then everybody now gets an outlet above the door, or it's higher up, and that's due to like a clinical error that we were having before. So to avoid the problem, everybody now just gets the outlet. So little advantage, there's, you can either put like a night light or a Febreze thing in there, but you'll be able to find a use for it. But with this room, they'll put, and depending on the model of the home, they'll put the shelving in different configurations, but nice good little bit of space in here. This black tube right here, this is where your gas comes into the home. So it's coming in on the side of the home. So it's just a good idea to know where that location is, but that basically runs up and then through the top plate and then runs through the attic. But it's not a bad idea to know that that is back there as well. And then on this wall, you have your copper line for your AC unit. So that copper line that ran down in your AC closet comes in over here and then runs up through the ceiling and out. And then these water lines right here, these are the water lines that supply your hot water heater. So they exit the home through there, and that black tube is the gas supply for that. So it's just a good idea to know where kind of all this stuff is throughout the home, inside of the walls. So this is the master bedroom. So definitely very spacious. So with the bed being on this wall here, they basically put your low voltage over here. So that white and green wire, that's that RG6 Cat6 wire, and they put an outlet next to that. And that basically all just runs up, down through the ceiling. So the thing to get used to with the home is that your switches for the bathroom will be on the outside, because when people have pocket doors, you can't have it on the inside. There's no space to put it. So you have 3 switches here. One switch controls the light, another switch controls the exhaust fan, and then the third switch will control the vanity lighting. So that white squiggly wire right there, and that lighting above the shower. I will say this before I head into the bathroom. So you have a pocket door here. As you can see, it's got a little bit of flex to it. When they drywall this, it'll obviously tighten it up, but this wall is kind of a no-no in terms of hanging anything on there, because if you put something into this wall, it might hit the door. And these are a little bit finicky, so they, you can't really do too much with this. Otherwise, it might, all it has to do is pinch in a little bit for the door to start rubbing and taking the paint off. So I tell people just put a piece of furniture over here, something like that, and just kind of avoid hanging anything on this wall in general. So stepping in to the actual bathroom. So right to your right, you've got a little closet here. So that'll have the different rows of shelving. Across the way, this is your water closet. So switch for that is over here. So you have the light switch and then the fan switch. So light right there, and then every bathroom gets a air supply. And that's toilet there with the blue line is the water supply for that. So with the shower here, you've got the control switch for the temperatures and the pressure on there. And then the actual shower head is right up here. It's on the other side. And then here is your vanity. So they just have this here for when we do our testing. It's irrelevant. It'll be taken off when they come to trim it out. They have this yellow wire pre-run so that in the backsplash there, they'll have an outlet in there. And then all those blue and red red lines, that's your water supply, and your drainage right there. The drainage is the white. So that is your vanity space there. I know it's getting a little dark and a little hard to see, so I'll try and hurry it up. So that's basically everything inside the home. Again, like I said before, if you have any other questions, I can certainly, text or we can set up a phone call to talk about anything that you might be still confused on or that I might not have pointed out. Last little bit here, I'm going to go to the outside of the home where all your utilities are going to be coming into. So we'll kind of do an outside look here. On the corner of all the homes, we have a photocell light. So you get one on this corner, your neighbor gets one on that corner, and that basically is controlled by the lighting. So as the lighting is going down, those lights then begin to turn on. So it's kind of a neat little system to, to prevent it so that the area is not so dark. This right here, this is that white right there. That's your hookup for your hose spigot. So again, just to run a hose out here. That white line is just a temporary line that basically lets the plumber know that's where the water supply is, so that when it comes time to trim out the home, they can just tap right into the actual line that's on the other side of the wall. Those big electric mounted, those electric panel mounts that were sitting in the garage, this is where they're gonna go. They'll put concrete posts on either side, and then they'll have it mounted, and then they'll cut these tubes flush, and that's where the electric meter will sit. Over here in the corner, this is where your water heater will sit. So they give you an outlet. This is the electric supply, gas supply, water supply. So that unit will just kind of sit right above there. Over here, we have where your AC unit will sit. So they'll pour like a 4x4 concrete pad for that to sit on. Again, they give you another outlet over here in case anybody needs to do any work on it. And then here's the electric supply right there. And then this is the box setup for the photocell light. So that's where that unit will sit so that it knows, when the light is going down. This is where your gas meter will be set. So on the other side of this wall, this is that walk-in closet there. So it'll basically just kind of sit over here. And then this is the box for the pesticide stuff. So this is that Taexx box, and they have Home Team on there. They have a QR code, a phone number, website that you can call to set up their service and continue it. When you activate it, and they actually give you a year free on the spray. So it's kind of a nice little bonus add-on just to see that it does work. But they'll be able to come in here, tap in like that, and just spray, and won't even have to come into your home. So they can do it while you're away. And then like I was talking about before, that's where the exhaust vents come out of. So again, they'll have it cut flush with the soffit, and then they'll have a little plastic piece that goes up in there. So that is everything I have for this meeting, or that you typically go over in this meeting. So once again, more questions, I'm more than happy to answer. But other than that, thank you. Have a good weekend. Merry Christmas.